Au means cartwheel, and we're going to start off with this grounded style of cartwheel, the roulé. So we're just swinging the legs around, brushing the floor. It's a very circular motion through this pike from squat to squat. Hit my pike position. You can see I'm just hopping from leg to leg, inside leg to inside leg. Now we progress by adding some upper body strength. You want to place your hips on your elbow. Swivel the knees, hips on elbow. You want to make this feel as aligned and effortless as possible. Don't try to use strength. Try not to use strength and still achieve it. You can bring the head down towards a tripod or you're resting it on the floor, or you can keep that head hovering higher up. Most importantly, just keep the elbows directly over the wrists before you rock back. Now we're going to add a leg extension so you can get the feel for our next moves. Extending that leg and rocking back. You can see I'm getting into more of a forehead tripod here because it feels a bit more stable while I'm learning, but you don't need to necessarily do that if you already feel comfortable. You can hover the head higher up, parallel with the height of the elbows. But you can see that as I stack, my elbows are over my wrists, and that's what gives me that feeling of a more effortless, bony alignment. Now we move on to adding a leg swing to enter. So it's this nice little hop skip motion. We're not going to kick the leg directly behind. We're going to take it from one side across to the other. So we actually kick that leg out to the side and then swing behind. See, out to the side to my left and then behind to my right. Now we're going to start to add a rotation or look through. So we're going to swivel the upper body. You can see that my main loaded arm, so in this one, my left, keeps elbow over wrist, but the unloaded arm, I allow my elbow to move back behind me. So you'll see that more clearly from the side view in just a moment. Whichever arm is loaded stays relatively stacked, and the other one turns. So see here, my left elbow is going to come behind, but my hips are still stacked over my right elbow onto the floor. Hips, elbow, floor on the left, with the right coming back. Hips, elbow, floor on the right, with the left coming back. Now we exit from QDR into squat. So we use that leg swing, and then we slide the feet to adjust. You can see I'm keeping my top leg extended so that I can use it as a counterweight to help me shift into the squat. Fully extended, move that bottom leg, shift into the squat, and then retract the leg. I only retract the leg once I'm ready to go into my squat. Now, keeping the same sequences, the same checkpoints, we're just going to make it smoother. So we begin to follow the rotation around, and it becomes a bit more glidey instead of being left leg, or right leg, left leg. It's kind of a little bit more of both, overlapping. Swinging that leg and letting my bottom foot, that bent leg knee, slide a little bit in a small arc. So this next one, we're going to link left and right together via a leg swing. It starts to feel really nice and circular. So the foot sequence is the same as the roulé. I hop from inside leg to inside leg, except that I'm coming out through a QDR now. So if you get confused on the foot sequence at all, if this starts to feel like a bit of a brain teaser, then just go back to the roulé and do a bunch of reps of that. And the only thing we're going to change from the roulé is dropping down on the hip to exit. Roulé entry, switching legs, dropping down on the hip to exit. But you've practiced all the parts, so you'll get this. I thought I'd add more angles in here for you to view because this may be one of the more, the bigger jumps in these progressions. Roulé entry, QDR exit. Now watch my inside leg, the bent leg, does a little circle as the top leg does a big circle, but they kind of follow each other. They rotate in an arc together. Inside leg, bent leg, just does a little smaller one. They go together, and then I retract that top leg to come into my squat. This one will feel good when you get it. Now we just go high hips on the entry. So it's still the same roulé leg work. We're just extending the hips up and then dropping low for our QDR exit. That's all that's changed. No added steps, just high hips to begin with. Extend the legs, reach. Want to feel length through the body over that top side of the cartwheel, that long side. right arm, right hip, right leg, and then I hop into my left side QDR exit. And then from here, we're going to add some strength and start to skip that second leg step and just slice the knee straight through to QDR. And we trace around that top leg. Skip the hop, just slice the knee through, hips onto elbow, trace around that top leg. You might find that you need to gain some upper body strength for this because it is a little bit of an eccentric pike push-up here. Slicing through, coming across. This is going to set you up, if you can manage to control it nice and slowly, for the full cartwheel. I want you to be able to control it with strength before you go using momentum. That'll just mean that when you do finally get the floating version of this movement with that brief period of hand balancing in the middle, you'll have enough control to feel safe. So that's what I'm going to show you now. Au to QDR via small float. Exactly the same as that movement just before, but we pick up the leg before we hit the QDR. So knee slice, pick up, land. Same entry, high hips, knee cuts across, float, hip to elbow, and land. And this is where it starts to feel like more of a up and down circle rather than an on the floor around circle. So it starts to feel more like a proper cartwheel, except we just have this brief moment. There is a feeling of switching the legs here. So as I bring that top leg down and tuck it in, my bottom leg swings slightly up and over. Top leg down, tucked in, bottom leg swings up and over, and they counteract each other to give me a sense of balance. Now we do the full cartwheel, so a bigger float. Exactly the same style of entry, but this big arc, floating, lowering down. If you have the technique and the leg work right here, then this can actually feel easier because you're using momentum, and that momentum is going to carry you in the right direction. So enjoy this, build it up, float more, be free.